It's just a blessing, you know. I think when we spoke at the beginning of the year, I was just saying that I wanted to accomplish that. That was one of my goals. And then just to, I didn't even know I got it. My mom called me and she just congratulated me. So it was just really cool. It was a really cool experience. And I just want to thank God for allowing me just to have that goal checked off.
Like a little extra gratifying for you as well, considering some of that freshman wall you had to get over, especially early on in Big 12 play.
Yeah, no, that wall, you know, it was a tough time, tough period, stretch of games, but I just tried to stay focused. You know, I knew that not every player is gonna have times where they're just not hitting and they're not playing the way they want to play. But once I broke through that wall, I think I just tried to stay consistent and then just keep flourishing.
Is there any added satisfaction that you were the preseason pick and then you kind of followed it up with it, winning it here now?
Yeah, just a little bit, just to know that before the season, people just expected me to do what I did, and then for myself too, I expected myself. That was one thing that I was gonna hold myself up to, just to get freshman of the year, and then just to complete it, it does make me like a little bit more happier.
Like you said, you had that expectation for yourself. As you kind of look back on, the regular season, did you fulfill your expectations, and what areas of your game do you still want to improve?
No, I fulfilled some, but I always look higher than like I expect myself to do a lot more than what I did. Obviously, I think there's just any player that just wants to be great. Things I still want to work on, it's still just finishing around the rim better, being more consistent, and then just knowing that I'm gonna be a player that's scouted harder. I just want to still be able to do what I do, no matter what the scout is or how the defense is playing me.
For you, what's the excitement level around your first taste of college postseason?
Oh, I'm super excited. The coaches and players that have been a part of something like this, they just told me like, this is a time where you really got to shine. This is where time the great players really show that they're great. So I just want to come into this postseason and just do what I expect myself to do. Just hoop, do whatever it takes to win, and hopefully we get these tournament wins.
How do you approach the Big 12 tournament as a team? Because, obviously, y'all's body of work, you're going to get a pretty good seed.
Yeah.
Anyway, but what's the mindset going into it?
We just got to put together complete games. I think we've seen plenty of games. We're a really good second half team, but if we play the whole game like we do in second halves, we're a pretty hard team to stop. And I think we showed that a lot of times, like when we play Houston, when we just played Texas, when we're really playing offense and defense at a high level, we're a really hard team to stop. So I think it's just trying to put together a complete team and just stay together through it all.
What would you say was like the biggest takeaway from that Texas Tech loss? You kind of touched on it, maybe getting off to a quicker start.
Yeah, really just playing harder. They were really just playing harder than us. I know it was their senior night, and obviously they didn't want to lose, but we were just really lacking a lot of energy. We weren't really rebounding well, playing defense, communicating. So really, we just got to play. We just got to play harder. That was my biggest takeaway. We got to play harder, and we just got to start the game at the mindset of like we're the better team already, and then we got to show it.
You mentioned that getting through the wall was kind of a tough time, but it's felt like you would still find ways to impact the game, and we've talked about that a lot this year. Is that just sort of built into you?
Yeah, my dad was probably the opposite player I am. He wasn't really a huge offensive guy, and he was just an elite on defense. So just hearing from him, talking about defense, and then knowing I like to play offense. When my offense isn't going well, he was always the player to do the energy plays, dive on the floor, take charges, and I've always heard his story, so that was something that was always cool to me. So I think just growing up, that was always just a thing that was regular to me because of my dad and what he's just told me and all the stories. So I think, I would say it was built into me.
Jacoby, you talked about your consistency. Is when you don't get your 15, is it generally on you, or is it more on the defense taking it away from you?
I like to say the defense doesn't make me miss shots and all that. It's just me how I shoot the ball. So like the defense does play me hard, but I always blame myself for it. I just watch film and see what I could have done better, and not really how the defense was playing me.
As a younger guy going into the postseason, what's the benefit to having a guy like Everyday John, who's
Especially before the games and just when we have our little conversations. He just tells me what to expect, and then when something's going wrong, he's like, "Oh, I've seen this before." So he just say, "This is the outcome that I've seen happen, and if we do this, then that's what could happen. We could still win this game no matter what." So he's just always encouraging, just with his experience, and just letting us know that even though things go wrong, we can always turn around.
So being a guy who's been there, done that, obviously for AJ today, getting named to the Big 12 second team, what's he meant for you as an experienced guard who's been through kind of wars of college basketball?
Yeah, I definitely say I'm blessed just to have Ray J as the point guard. He has a lot of experience, and me just talking to him and me being a young guy, seeing how he works hard and seeing how he is every day in practice and how he talks to us during games, I try to take away a lot from him. He's a big part of why I'm growing the way I am, and then so like he really is just like we all call him the leader on the team, and that's just really what he's been for me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels good. I think it'll be more validating if we can go win this Big 12 tournament. That'll feel better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I asked Jacoby what's kind of y'all's mindset going in, because you're probably going to get a good seed no matter what happens. But, you know, I mean, it sounds like you very much still want to win this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not playing any games to lose them. So.
Ray J, Jacoby called you kind of, says that the players call you the leader of this team. Coming in, obviously there's a lot of new pieces everywhere. Did you feel comfortable right away being that leader, and where did you learn kind of how to do that in this transfer portal era?
Well, I think kind of along my journey, it's helped that this was my second time transferring, so I kind of knew what it was like to get integrated to a team fast and have to figure it out quick. So, I mean, once I came here, and then the type of guys that we have, they just made it super easy to be a leader and allow me to give them some wisdom and things that I've seen along the way.
Is it a little different going into a conference tournament for you, going from places where maybe you went in feeling like you had to win the tournament to get into to be able to play in the NCAA, to more now where you're playing for seeding purposes?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different feeling. Knowing that, I mean, we still going to win the Big 12 tournament, but knowing that no matter what happens, we still be in the 64. I mean, it's a good feeling versus being at like Toledo and you could have the best season in MAC history and still not get into the tournament if you lose.
Mitch, and obviously the mindset is to win. You know, to do it, you're going to have to play 3 good teams in 3 days and, you know, win all of them. I mean, you know, how do you pull that off?
I mean, I think it's something that we've all done before in terms of like playing a lot of games in a short amount of time. And, I mean, I think the Big 12 does a good job getting you ready for that with some of these Sunday, Monday games. And it's not quite the same, but it's similar. But, I mean, I think just the most mentally tough team and physically tough team will come out on top.
Ray J, Bryce kind of brought it up, and Coach talked about how this tournament gets you ready for March Madness. You touch on why this tournament gets you ready for a big tournament like that.
I mean, you play a tournament game every night, pretty much. I mean, everything comes down to 2 possessions, 1-2 possessions for the most part. Like I said, you got the Sunday, Monday game, so you playing in a short amount of time, 2 back-to-back games. So, I mean, it gets us ready in a variety of ways.
How do you get out of that? I mean, I know y'all talked about it, you've tried all things, but how do you get out of that rut of the slow starts?
I mean, I think it starts in practice. I mean, whenever you see something in a game that you got to fix, you got to take it to practice. And so whenever we're in practice, it's been a focus like start fast. So I think we'll get it together.
What impresses you most about that freshman of the year, Jacoby, and what he's done this year?
I mean, obviously he's super talented basketball player, right? But I think probably what mostly impresses me is how like mentally tough he's been all year. And I think you see a lot of freshmen with that type of notoriety and expectation. He's had a couple bad games. You could see them drop off, like probably most guys, honestly. And he's been able to stay strong and stay mentally tough and stay locked in and been great all year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the great thing about the Big 12 tournament is it's not going to hurt you. And if you're in the tournament, you're not going to drop out because there's not a bad loss to be had. If you're in the tournament and you do well, you can move up seed line. So that's a blessing, especially if you got a bye or a double bye. So with us, we view it as it's a great opportunity to prepare for the NCAA tournament with so many new players. They run it just like the NCAA tournament with shoot-around times and how the court works and how you go to the game, the police escort. I mean, all that stuff. So by the time you get to the NCAA tournament, hopefully there's no wow moments and it's a routine. And you like to have routines.
Coach, you guys pretty used to the postseason. Ray J getting second team All Big 12 today. What has he meant to this offense and this team? I know Jacoby they call him the leader of this basketball team.
I think he's a great example for someone who's coming in as a graduate. Some people come in and it's about them. Some people come in and they're really loud and people are turned off. Ray J came in to serve. He was a great servant leader. Everybody respected, listened to him, and from that, he's developed into a great team leader. So his character and ability to serve has allowed him to be a great leader. And from that, that's hard to do when you have people that have been at a place a lot longer than you have or experienced success, especially.
What are you most proud about with Jacoby's freshman year?
Oh, I mean, it is really hard to come out of the gates and perform really well and then have that target on your back the entire year. We've had guys come in and done real well early, and then we've had guys that have progressed through the season and gotten better. It's a lot easier that way because as they progress through the season, they don't have the weight of the world and the expectations. I mean, you score, 28 the first game against Auburn, who's been a top 25 team most of the year. I mean, that's what the standard is now, right? So he's done a great job with that. And what I know our staff's loved about Jacoby is he's a sponge. 5-star guy, 0-star maintenance, wants to get better each and every day, works hard to get better each and every day. Never about his stats, never about his numbers, never about any of that. It's all about the team and it's all about winning. And that whenever you got guys like that to coach, it's really a joy and an honor to be a part of their development.
How important was it to get Langston back against Tech, and he's
Yeah.
100% coming into this week?
Well, the one thing, I don't know if anybody's 100%. We've had 2 good days of practice, so might be a little banged up right now. But with Langston, it's really important not only for him to get those minutes in rep, but more importantly, our guys to get used to playing with him again. I think a lot of times it's always about the person coming back, but you remember you got a whole team that's been playing without him, and they got to figure that out again too. So as you adjust to new roles, new rotations, expectations, whatnot, obviously. We're a better team with them, and the sooner we got him back, the better. But Dave did a great job making sure we didn't try to get him back too early, and was cautious on that part of it.
Going off of that, how do you balance the idea of working him back into the game versus knowing that you only have, a couple weeks in NCAA tournament time, and you need him as 15 or 20 minutes a game that he's at his best then?
Well, I think first and foremost, trainers always tell us how much guys can play. 1, can they play? 2, how many minutes you should look at, and then from there you have a little leeway based on how they're looking out there. And I mean, he was one of the bright spots at Tech for sure.
And again, kind of building on that, with him coming back, like you said, guys are adjusting again. How do you approach Miro's role now?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something that Miro's a better player than he was at the beginning of the year, and Caleb's a better player than he was at the beginning of the year. All our guys are, but those guys, especially during the last couple games, have been crucial and played a great role. Now as a staff, the game still only allows 5 guys on the court, so you got to figure what your rotations are going to be. Sometimes that's dictated by injury, foul trouble, illness, any of the 3. And then other times it's based on how the team's playing, the fatigue. I mean, you go into a tournament scenario where it's 3 games in 3 days for us, 4 or 5 depending on other teams, it's really crucial to have some depth because it's a grueling time. And that's what's great about the NCAA tournament. You always have that day off in between.
It's also 8:30 tip.
Oh, we're much better late at night than we are early in the morning as far as getting up. I can tell you, our staff's on college hours too. So yeah, we're good at 8:30 at night.
Coach, you kind of touched on it, but Jacoby was saying how, especially now, those guys who don't have that tournament experience are leaning on those veteran guys on your team.
Yeah.
How do you kind of see that mindset shifting a little bit when it is do or die each and every day?
Yeah, I think we've been blessed because we have great upperclassmen that don't use their position to hold people down or down like they're real easy and approachable and loving. So it's easy for the underclassmen to really lean into them. And the one thing that Jonathan Chamochacha there's not many people played on a national championship team, and he's got a fountain of knowledge and wisdom for that. And then Jalen Bridges being somebody that has been through the NCAA tournament rigors as well, Langston. But we have a lot of new guys that have never, and that's why this Big 12 tournament is so crucial, because they're going to see what exactly the NCAA is like, and that's one of the great things about our conference tournament. It prepares them for that.
Scott, obviously the regular season is the big thing, but do you still look at this as like this could be a Big 12 championship?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, every year you go to the Big 12 tournament, you bring folders on other teams that you might play, and normally in the other bracket it might be 1 or 2 folders, and this year it seems like you're bringing a ton of folders, and I think that's college basketball. I mean, you look at it. I heard this stat the other day that we're one of 4 schools to have won a game in the tournament in the last 4 years. I mean, you think about it, and all the name schools and all that, you just assume everybody's going to the Sweet 16 every year. And, I mean, one of 4 to win 1 game. That's it, the last 4 years. It's hard to do, and we've been the top 3 seed 4 straight years, and there's only 4 schools that have done that. The only school to win 11 or more the last 5 years. I mean, you just assume, and it's just the parity and how everything changes so quick. It used to be like building where, hey, you got 80% of your team coming back, you know they're going to be good. Now it's like everybody's coming back with 30% and 20% and 40%. You don't know what you're going to get.
It's hard with those freshmen to tell them to enjoy, going through this NCAA tournament while also locking in.
Man, we are so blessed because we've had great freshmen throughout the years, and these two are just like those, meaning the Eve and Jacoby, the starters. Miro's same way. Like they got families that don't put pressure or talk about the next step. They let them enjoy college, and that is, you never know if you'll ever be in March Madness again, regardless if you go to the NBA or not. So, I mean, you got to cherish and appreciate all those moments. And these guys have done a great job, a freshman class, embracing each and every moment. And the good thing is they've played enough minutes. They're sophomores now.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys.